Welcome to the Nailed It Wall.
Welcome to episode 71 of the Nailed It Wall. I'm Mr. Lane, the STEM guy.
And I'm Miss Scofield.
And I am Brett Humphrey.
He's late to the party, also known as Radial Bone. If you listened to part one, hopefully you felt inspired by the seriousness of the principal side of Brett Humphrey. And we're excited to kind of let our guard down here, talk about some things that are near and dear to our heart. Radial Bone wants to be a stand-up comedian one day. We play a lot of college football online. You hear a lot of our banter going back and forth, and so we've grown to be great friends over the last year here, and it's just kind of surreal to be sitting here all together here. And as we usually start the Nailed It Wall, we always talk about our nailed it or failed it, and I'm going to start with you this week. How have you nailed it or failed it this week?
I feel that this has been the best start for me of a school year I'm going into my 9th year, but just having a better understanding of what I want the year to be like. I feel like you and I have a lot of times jumped into a school year and then kind of, I don't want to say doggy paddled, but it's like, wasn't as intentional on our part. It was like more reactionary, but I feel like this year is so intentional. So the things that I'm doing in my class, I'm purposely doing that. And I have a better understanding of like mapping out timing and lessons and picking up on the vibe of the kids and setting that culture. Classroom culture has always been really important to me, but I feel like everything is very intentional, and that feels pretty darn great.
And what year number is this for you as a teacher?
This is going into my 9th year.
9th year, teaching 8th grade science. All right, well, let's keep the good vibes going, moving forward. And you're already starting to do podcasts with your 8th graders?
Yeah, we had to pause this week, but they're pretty fired up. It's interesting because it's something that kids have a lot of familiarity with, which is awesome. And they are anxious to hear their own voice, not literally the sound of their voice, but the things that they have to say, and to have a platform to do so. And so they're pretty excited about going into this. And I think this will be I've been doing podcasts with the kids for multiple years, but I feel like, thanks to grants and stuff, we've been able to access professional equipment, which really elevates that experience for them and shows them the actual, the nitty gritty of it. And I'm excited to expand that further this year.
Yeah, and last year your students came up with some pretty amazing podcasts. I mean, you had like murder mystery podcast. You had the AI one where a student was talking to an AI and they're going back and forth. And we just recently, I was like, we started trying to get a podcast going before it was the thing to be, it
was hard.
We just recently, I got an email from Transistor. Congrats to you, my friend. We just had our 6-year anniversary of having the Nailed It Wall.
That is the coolest.
So 6 years. So we've been around doing this. Radial Bone, he's like, I bought this equipment. I don't know how to use it, but he's like, I'm going to get podcasting going at my school. And Bone, how have you nailed it or failed it this past week?
Well, I would say I had a lot of failed it's and a lot of nailed it. So to choose one would be, that's a lot to. I could riff on that for a while. I would say I think I'm on vacation with my family, and I also got a chance to connect with you guys as friends, and I was able to see a lot of really important people to me. And sometimes when I moved here when I was 22, and I stayed here till I was about 40 years old, and in that time I built a family here. My family was 2,000 miles away, and through my work, through just my communities that I've lived in around the Phoenix area, my family's here. Like I remember flying into landing and I'm like, dang, this feels like home, and I'm from Wisconsin, right? But like this is somewhere that means a lot to me. So I nailed it by just reaching out and seeing some people I haven't seen in a really long time. And I got to say some things that I think are really important about how they impacted me. And, leaving a place that you love and worked at for 16 years. I mean, I cried like a baby. I think my HR director and superintendent were like, be short. When you inform the staff that you're heading out, be short and try not to be too emotional. It might be hard. And I think I went really long and I cried a lot and I was very emotional. So
nailed it.
But
Nailed it.
I'm just I got to be me, and it hurt. Like I remember I couldn't not choke. I choked up in the interviews in Wisconsin talking about knowing that I'm about to leave. So that it was hard. And when you leave, you want to stay connected to people, but it doesn't happen like, everyone, distance creates gaps. And it was so cool to come back. And it seemed like people were a little surprised to see me when I, visited my old school district and like, cause I didn't tell anyone I was coming. That's why they were surprised. And
Classic.
And to get hugs and people weren't just like, hey, they're like, oh, you got to come see the guys, good to see you, man. And it made me feel good, because it reminded me of how much we accomplished together, all the things we did, all the hard times we got through, kind of came back to me. And I got to say some things about how when I left here, I got to go use what I learned here and innovate somewhere else, and I think that was cool to say. Where did I fail it? I think the first night we were here, we stayed up too late. So we were talking, having a good time talking, and we looked at the clock, and I'm like, oh boy, I think we have to get up in a couple hours and be normal human beings, and we're not young pups anymore. So, but that fail is not a fail. That was a lovely opportunity to connect and talk with a good friend, you, Mr. Lane, but man, I was tired the next day.
and I told you multiple times that you dug deep. Now my nailed it is me and you may have just completed one of the greatest dynasties head-to-head that has ever been completed. We have 2 trophies over here. One's turned off here. In college football. College football by EA Sports went on was it 11 years? 10 years. What was the last one? Was it 2014?
I don't know, but I want to do a quick shout out to Syracuse. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I had no experience in running your whole program, and I thank you. I had no experience, and you gave me the opportunity, and we did big things. Thank you, Syracuse.
I mean, and so you flew in. You had no idea that we had these trophies that we created. They're neon LED like trophies celebrating. Not one person it was the first annual EA Sports College Football Coaches Awards. You had no clue what was happening. Our families all gathered on a couch, sat down. Miss Scofield had a speech ready to go, thanks to her friend who helped write that speech.
Chatty GPT.
Chatty, and you were kind of shook because you were just like, you thought this was a video game intervention, that it was time. And
there's some inaccuracies. Chat, you had some inaccuracies. There's nothing more important. There's very few things more. No, the Syracuse needed me, and I was there for them.
Yeah. But no, touchy subject.
Yeah, so
we did go.
We had a whole trophy unveiling, and a snarky. We asked for a snarky college football speech, and you delivered, each punchline, and Radio Bone was just sitting there interjecting, like he didn't know what was happening.
You nailed it, because I had all the feels. I was like proud of myself, and then I was offended, and then became proud of. I mean, you make somebody cry. You make them mad. You make them happy. You hit every.
It's like Jimmy V, man. That's a full day. That's a full day.
It is.
And this is the first time, and we had speeches. We called Radio Bone up once we unveiled his trophy. I knocked over his trophy. We have a video of me actually knocking over his trophy before he could hold his trophy.
Somebody did say that I showed a picture to, asked me if EA Sports actually gave it to me. They look that good.
They really do.
And apparently they must have thought that EA Sports thought lot of my dynasty, but I was 0-5 against you at home. So
there is an asterisk.
I don't know why that had to go. That was a bit.
I had to get that one little thing in there because there was no clear winner. There was no clear winner of the draft.
We were both winners.
We were both winners. We both walked away with a trophy. Can you tell our listeners what has this dynasty meant to you?
What did you fail at? What you got to talk about?
I did. You dropped.
You can either
go nailed it or failed it.
Don't ever correct the host
or,
podcasters out there practicing.
First, you told me
the
you felt
host
like
is always right.
You felt like you were Dak Shepard sitting down here, and now
he got his armchair out. Actually, he
I'll
does
never
have
reach Dak Shepard level. He is my
you never know. You love that podcast, and all of us, we love podcasts. Like so many times, we'll share stories of podcasts, and here we are. We're together on a podcast, but don't deflect the question here. Me and you have talked many times.
I'm not deflecting. I don't remember it.
of what college football coming back has meant to us as friends.
I played. Video games are. I think there's people that think people play video games when they're kids and then they stop, right? And one thing that's happened is the technology is so great. Like you can hop on. Like I don't play the computer or anything. I only play when I'm playing a friend or my sister lives in Washington D.C. She's a gamer, and we have a lot of great conversations when I don't get to see her very often. I can call her, sure, but we're playing it. We're playing against each other and something. Or we're doing something with our PS5s. We often are doing the thing, but we're also having a conversation. We're building relationships, and I think that's what is neat about where it's come. It's not you sitting in front of the TV playing a computer game. It's it's like hanging out, doing an activity that you do. You go to a park or you go to you play basketball with them. You should probably exercise too. You shouldn't do it all the time, but it's a way to connect with people. I've learned and have conversations through play. What you think about in the classroom, like you can tell somebody the information and hope they retain it, but if they get to if they're playing and building community and solving problems and challenges together, and sometimes you learn you fail and you can't get too mad, you can't get too high when you're up on top, winning. And I think whether it's NCAA, thanks, shout out to EA, thanks for the awards. I didn't know you thought that highly of me, but I think it's more about the connections to other human beings. I play online and you get it assigns you these groups and you're with people you don't know who they are, and they're not all kids. They're probably a lot of parents, probably a lot of parents that can't leave the house and they're, it's a hobby of theirs, but you're solving problems with teams or you're competing against somebody and it's sort of like in the classroom, you're playing and learning and growing, You were pretty mad when you lost that first time, weren't you, Mr. Lane?
I was, and I've told you multiple times how I've grown, because some years, we might play twice in a season. Sometimes we might play 3 times. We might regular season game, conference championship game, and in the playoffs. And so the fun thing is, I knew that there was another game coming, and there wasn't like this. We had this consistency. And it was
I had to explain that too, didn't I? Let's be real here.
Oh no, I'm
kidding. I'm joking.
No, I was like,
it's really whether it's this or that, there's where you start off and you don't know how to do it, and then you get a little better and a little better and a little better, and if you get stuck in the I'm not good at this, and it's that's your way, that can translate outside of whatever you're doing. I like to think it's hard not to get mad when you lose. Whether I've played in a lot of basketball leagues, I've ran a lot of races, 5Ks and whatnot, and you get disappointed, and sometimes you're like, man, I'm the best and the worst some days.
Well, and something that I'm trying to do really good in my classroom is reflection. And anytime we play a game, it's hilarious because I'm just chatting up and it's if you're playing someone else, we're talking about life, we're talking about kids, we're talking about school, we're having a good time. And, but once me and you are playing, you're just locked in. You're not even saying anything. Half the time, I think the mic's on mute.
I can't stop.
Mute.
Yeah, no.
I'm just talking the whole time. I'm talking to my whole self, and then the game will end, and then before the game's over, I'm either FaceTiming you or we're having a conversation, and we're reflecting, on plays that we called, like, we don't take it so hard, and like,
and you find out, like, I've noticed through this, and again, it could be anything, but we've chosen this, and I think we're pretty locked in because it's been fun, and it's been fun to talk about our kids and talk about our life and talk about our struggles, talk about our, but I think about my personality. Like, it's interesting. Like you said, I get quiet. Like, you can't get me to be quiet. This is what 5 minutes. Good luck with that. But it's like. When I find a passion, when I hit that button, you said I want to be a comedian. Well, I also want to be in the NBA. I want to be learn the guitar and be really good. I squirrel a little bit in and when I find that thing that gets me, I do get locked in. And I think about those losses. I talked about challenges in my life. I could tell you some challenges that I faced that like changed the whole course of my life that I wish didn't happen. Right. But just so like you think about this game, there's some disappointments, and the other person wins, and you wanted what they have, it's kind of a mirror to life, but every time I lose, and this is a metaphor for life in a way, like every time I lose, I know now I have the confidence to know, like, somewhere there's a silver lining where I'm going to learn from that experience. That's my mindset. Like, what did I do that didn't get me what I wanted? And that's in life too. Like, I kind of like adrenaline things. I love racing. I grew up dirt track racing, and there's this moment, and my wife is like, she went to watch me race, and she's like, it stinks, smells like gasoline, and it looks scary. Like, you guys could get really hurt. We got the fire suits and all that, but like, there's moments of such zen where all I'm focused on is keeping me and winning, but also have a responsibility to other drivers and myself of safety, right? And I don't have a chance to worry about anything in the world besides that in that moment. And I love those moments when I get locked in. That's such a zen feeling, if that's the right word to use. But that's my superpower is getting calm in a crisis situation, right? Or a big moment. I feel like I don't always succeed in those moments, but I know my brain is going to respond a certain way, and everything slows down. Like, I'm most calm, I think, when my wife is like, why would you do that? That was like that cart, like, you could have gotten really hurt. And those moments are really slow for me, and you need those for when you're in moments that you don't feel as comfortable, if that makes sense. You need everything, and you need to find that thing that gets you in that locked in zone, or that moment, because I think that's a healthy thing, whether it's playing basketball. My wife loves to read and just get her body calm. I like to meditate because my body's kind of like always going. My brain's always, I don't even know if I was supposed to be answering a question right now, So, but my point is, like, I love those moments where I do get locked in, and I get that from that game when I'm playing you, because I want to beat you bad. I've knocked you down pretty good sometimes, and I come to the next game and I'm like, I whooped him last time. This will be easy, and I make a bunch of mistakes. I get overconfident, and it's a good life skill. Like, don't ever think you reached your pinnacle. Like, I'm never going to graduate the best I'll ever be. You're always growing, I think, is kind of what this game or any activity does.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And for the record, Radial Bone won 6 national championships. He had a moment where he could have gone up 7-5. And with the new college football was coming out, I mean, he could have won the Dynasty. And then I won that 6 national championships. So it was 6-6. And we just said, we're calling it a draw. It was just, we just had so many great moments. And I forgot to mention earlier, I nailed it. It was the first time I've ever seen you speechless when you were called up to give your speech, because you just didn't even know what was happening. Like, you're like, there's a trophy.
I didn't know if it was a rebuttal I had to do or a speech. I was like, is this an argument? That speech was pretty snarky.
And so when you lock in, unless there's snakes, I mean, I heard there's a video of you run into the forest with a snake. I heard snakes are your kryptonite.
I saved a lot of kindergartners' lives that day. Those grass snakes, They have red tongues, and they stuck it out at me, and it was scary. And I saved they think I was being a little like scared. I got it in the woods back home.
Well, that was
but
impressive.
I didn't look good doing it.
Yeah,
I
well,
didn't look like a gladiator doing it. I'll tell you
maybe
that.
for our followers, we can find that video and share it with everyone. Now,
I think enough people have seen it.
okay, all right. Well, we need to see this. And
I was humbled.
Miss Scofield, you got to hear the story. Now, you've had the honor of just like being front row from this, and you've seen the benefits of what this has meant. What have you enjoyed most about this college football dynasty?
0% of it is the game. 0% of it, is the actual game. It is just the connection. I think it's weird because, I feel like for men, it's hard to, I don't know. I mean, unless you work with, a bunch of guys, unfortunately or fortunately for you, you're in a predominantly female, you're way outnumbered. I'm sure for you too, Radio Bone, you're way outnumbered.
We're gratefully outnumbered.
Yeah, but
right.
And that is awesome, right? Because you guys you're privy to a lot of stuff because of being surrounded by females. You have a different perspective, but I also think that can be a little bit alienating in some ways, and a little bit lonely. And I know that you have had a journey to, kind of get to where you are with the core friendships that you have and how meaningful they are. But it's hard because, we have jobs and families and stuff, and so time is precious, and it's not always going to be like somebody that you go and actually spend physical time. So it's like accessible to both of your lives, and it like can be integrated into the pockets of time that you have. And I think that is really, really spectacular, to see that be so seamless. And it's so genuine, and it's like there's nothing different. I feel like the friendship level is more genuine than I see with a lot of friendships that I see personally, where people would say, "Oh, that's my close friend," but I don't see the depth that I see with you guys.
Oh, that was very sweet. That was touching there.
I did not cry.
I like that. Yeah. And you're a little worried about both of us being in the same house, that the walls
gracious.
might not feel
You're
that.
still worried. She's still worried a little bit.
Yeah. She was a little concerned about the loudness. No.
You do have a great projection.
Yes, he does.
Wonderful projection.
Yeah,
You
he
are
does.
a
It
projector.
comes from the diaphragm. Yeah, it
whatever
does.
you're doing.
Yeah.
I heard you telling Miss Scofield a couple of times that like it's so loud that you have to mute the mic, and we are.
No, when I play with you, I turn it down a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not that I don't want to hear you, but you equal. You got some pipes.
Booming.
Yeah.
Golden
Booming,
pipes. I'm gonna
yeah.
call you golden
Yeah.
pipes.
Dulcet tones, he's been
and,
called.
and it's just a lot of fun. Like, I mean, you got this. I mean, one of my favorite memories from the past year. I mean, we started this dynasty about over Christmas break, and so 6-8 months of just like consistency. And I'm not a chess player. I've never learned how to play chess, but it is like the ultimate mind match of like ebbs and flows of things going your way. How do you react? Is there a snake in the grass? And
I hope not.
One of my favorite memories was like we were going someplace. So my kids were here on the couch, like they were waiting. You were waiting. And I think Sam might have been waiting. And there was like this. I mean, if I lost, I probably would not have wanted to run errands. I probably would have just gone and cried and sulked in my room. No, I'm only kidding. But I have
goal is
grown.
always to make you cry.
Yeah, and just the fact, like, I think it came down to like a fourth down. I think he threw an interception there, and like everyone on the couch was like cheering. Like Ryan was cheering against me, but it was just
Ryan's the man. I love his heckling of you. It is
a lot of times I don't play when Ryan is here. Just
I don't necessarily
because,
feel like he's rooting for me. I think he's just rooting against you in a loving way somehow.
And this is a game that I just loved as a kid, and I loved this with my college roommates. Like it was such a big thing of our 4 years in college, and I still remember this. Like I loved running the option in college. Like Donald Franklin was my star recruit at Michigan State, and we just had so much fun as college friends. And even as a kid growing up, that's how I knew all these college campuses and mascots, and to still be able to do this like as an adult, it's
I think one thing I think it's important to point out is so I believe I said something about a tree falling down in the yard or whatever, blah blah blah. I think we both found out we had tough years. I got a charmed life. I have a beautiful wife, kids. I love my profession. I love it, but we go through pretty tough times, and I think we found out we're both going through some tough times, and that's what I mean about like in those great times. I think I've grown to appreciate this a little more, and I didn't know you were having a hard time. I knew I was because I was in it, but it's something to look forward to. And going back, we all need those moments, whether it's playing basketball, reading a book, working out. I love running. I think you got to look for those things that find that moment of clarity where you can kind of forget about being stuck in the mud and whatever it is. And I think that'll help you get through, having those moments of clarity and letting your brain heal a little bit and get excited about something or distracted from it will make you better in solving whatever it is that you need to solve.
And when you talk about dedication, you flew on the plane carrying your PlayStation 5, and where were you carrying it? Like a tote bag? Like
I actually,
It doesn't even close. The bag doesn't even close.
I'm a little loose with my.
How did security react when you were carrying a PlayStation 5 through security?
I mean, I think they were jealous.
Yeah,
I think they were jealous.
That, yeah.
I think everyone should have it. I put it under my pillow every night. It's my
obviously,
baby.
yes.
Well, I want to thank you for being such a fan of this bromance and the game, and times where there's just a little lull. You always say, why don't you call Radial Bone? Why don't you get a game in? And I'll call him. He might be busy. And
I like what you said about it's 0% about the game. I mean, that's that when you brought that up.
It really is.
We're not here to. I mean, great job. Yeah, you did a good job. We like the game.
And the trophy. Don't forget the trophy.
Yeah, the trophies. But it's about that just bonding, and we talk about Yeah, I am also in education. I also have 2 daughters and my wife, and I don't want to genderize it, but it's cool to have that connection. I can't get my wife to play college football with me. I don't think it's going to land with her.
Oh, come on, Sammy. I think back to this weekend, like this will be a core memory. Just having our kids and our significant others on the couch being part of it. Like, Ryan, he was just laughing and chuckling. Like, a lot of things he acts like he's not paying attention or doesn't think is cool. But when he saw those trophies, he's like, those look good. But I think
about it, the game, I got to know Ryan a little bit. I knew him as the little guy. He was a classmate of my daughter's, but like I'm seeing him, it was cool to learn about his experiences on the bike. I'm so proud of him for doing what he's doing with the bike. And I had a conversation about how powerful this is, a lifelong skill. He's learning some skills that will translate into other things. I got to learn a lot about your son, which was really cool. And I can tell he's got the same bug I do. He likes that. He's going to be wearing a fire suit and a helmet and trying to find, he's a bit of an adrenaline kid.
Don't forget Mackenzie. Mackenzie loves hearing you throw. Classic there, but
I've become, like their favorite uncle.
Yeah, no, and I just love the pictures we have from that night. It'll be forever core memory, like us just like looking at the truck, because I hadn't seen them finished product when I picked you up at the airport.
You had a towel over it.
Yeah,
and you just did an intervention seemingly speech, and then you're gonna like I didn't know what was it like. If it was going to be a snake, we would be.
Yeah.
There were clear instructions that there would be a towel over each one.
That was a
There-
neat surprise, and
There
I'm
were
thankful for it.
multiple little details that I was given.
But the pictures of our faces just like picking up, and the fact that I knocked like the trophy over.
I don't
was
get
like,
speechless too often. I was like, my brain just started ping ponging. Like, what? Is this good or bad?
Yeah. Well, I just want to thank both of you for such a journey, and for
was good.
EA Sports College Football. And this was kind of fun to just kind of relive of something as educators that is just ingrained in us, and this is our outlet. And
Is part 3 going to be breaking down defenses?
it might be. I mean,
think that'll. I think
we might have to give the
hear
people
us
what they
talk
want.
X's and
you know?
O's.
True.
But we gotta get Miss Scofield to bed. We just hit 30 minutes, but as we always say,
I can do more.
All right. If you can be anything, be kind, people. You can find us on social. You can search me up on X at Mr. Lane, the STEM guy. Miss Scofield, she's not tweeting anymore. She's out on X. She's just too busy changing lives.
Hitting the TikTok.
Yeah. All right. Check us out on the TikTok. You can find us at the I.C.C shop, Radial Bone. Check out his Facebook page. What's the engagement up this week?
Somewhere around 14,000%.
All right. What's your school's name?
Park Elementary in
Park?
Middleton Cross Plains School District.
All right, there you
up
go.
in Wisconsin.
He's
Go
very
Badgers.
proud of the engagement. All right, we're out.